Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Women Who Rock with Success, which is an award-winning show for professional women. We profile a collective of amazing women who are thriving to build their brand. Women are handpicked in various fields who can provide credible information to build your business and lifestyle. We are live each Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Time, followed by our latest brand, Women Who Rock Investigates. To learn more about us, go to our website at www.womenwhorockwithsuccess.com. Now, let's join our podcast host in the studio, Mrs. Diane Winbush.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our second episode today of Women Who Rock with Success Media. This is your host, Ms. Diane Winbush. And also, we have another interesting guest who's in the studio with us today, and she's going to be sharing some information in regards to her book and her brand and her website. And we're going to tune in to her and let her have the floor. We're going to listen to her on today. So, good afternoon, Zehra, who's our guest for today, Mahon. So, good afternoon, and welcome to Women Who Rock with Success Media.
Oh, my goodness, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Diane.
You are welcome. So, Zehra, of course, we've been talking about authors ever since January 2022. I think after the pandemic kind of hit and everybody kind of stayed in for a little while, it kind of developed a lot of authors to come forward. And I know you've been doing this for a long, long time before the pandemic even came to fruition or what have you. So I just love to hear about how women are taking their books to the bookshelves and sharing their transparency, their stories, and helping other women, men, professionals, business professionals to be able to soar in whatever that you all have to offer. So I just wanted to congratulate you on that. So tell us a little bit about you before you became an author, and then kind of what inspired you to, get into this leadership role.
Well, it was a calling. I was called to it, and I just said yes. It wasn't planned. I didn't ever think that I was going to be an author. But once I started writing my blog, I discovered that I really do enjoy writing. And one day I was writing a blog post, and it just went on. And by the time I was finished, I was like, this cannot possibly be a blog post. It's too long. And so that is how my first book was born.
Okay, great. So on one of your ebooks that you have, and it's also a free, I see it's a free offer here on one of your sites. It says you help individuals to stop making the same mistakes that prevent them from their success and ultimate joy. And sometimes, Zehra, we repeat the same cycle over and over and over until we kind of have to hit the brick wall and say, okay, this is not working. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, people make the same mistakes over and over again because it becomes a habit. The way you think is a habit, and all actions that you take come from a thought. Action doesn't just happen like that. Even if you're going to flip a light switch, you think about flipping that light switch before you actually do it. So all action is preceded by thought. And thought becomes a habit, just like any other habit. Unless you change your thought habit, then you're not going to change the actions that you take. You're not going to change the way you make your decisions. And if you don't change that, then nothing will change. That's why you get into a pattern where the same thing happens to you over and over again.
Okay, so basically, if you have to change some of the things that you do, your patterns and routines every day, or I guess every week or somewhat?
Well, it's a slow process, and the first thing is to start paying attention to it. I think that the biggest thing that happened to me was one day I realized that I used to consider myself as a very positive person. And then I looked at my life one day and I said, well, you can't possibly be a positive person if this is the life you're living. So you must be doing something wrong. And I had no realization of what that was. I had to go look for what it was that I was doing wrong that was preventing me from the success that I wanted to have, because I thought I was positive. I wanted good things to happen, right? But that's not the same as being positive. There's a difference between being positive and wanting good things.
Okay.
Just
that's
because you want good things to happen, just because you want good things to happen does not make you a positive person.
Okay. Wow, that is so awesome to be able to learn that, the differentiation between the two. Wow. Okay. So, of course, we have all heard that sometimes bad things happen to good people, and sometimes people feel that when they're good, they feel that they don't, nothing bad should not happen to them, you know. So it was, I guess, a situation had came up some years ago, and it was a lady that we worked with, and so it was a mother and daughter, actually, and we all worked together, and this has been probably about 30 years ago. So anyways, so the daughter ended up passing away from some fatal things that occurred to her. And so the first thing when we went to the funeral, she was like, well, I like black people, and, you know, I don't bother nobody. And somehow, even though all of the good that she was doing, she didn't have no racism, she didn't have no bias in gender, she didn't have no bias in anything. She just felt that she was doing something bad because her daughter was in a situation that was that caused her demise or her to pass away or what have you. And so we felt bad for her, and I still think about her even today, this older lady. So why do people feel that sometimes bad things do happen to good people?
It's a fact. Bad things happen to good people. It happened to me. It was a question I always used to ask myself, what did I do to deserve this? Like, I was strangled by my husband. I was 2 months pregnant at the time. I was like, how did I do this? You know, like, what did I do to deserve this? I didn't do anything wrong. And what I've learned is, first of all, everyone is creating for themselves. So what happens to me in my life has nothing to do with my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, or anyone else. So as far as the lady that you're telling me about, what happened, she felt the loss of her daughter, but that loss did not happen because of something she did. That loss happened because of the life that her daughter was living. And I'm pretty sure that whatever happened was not deserved by the daughter, but it was brought on to her because God, as I don't know how many people out there believe in God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is fair. Is fair. You have to believe that God is fair. If you don't believe God is fair, you're going to live your life in fear. God is fair. So that's the premise that I started out with. I said, if God is fair, if the universe is fair, then there's something that I am doing that is bringing me the results that I'm getting. And so what is it that I am doing that is bringing this to me? Because if I wasn't doing it, then since God is fair, this would not happen to me, and bad things would not happen to other people, because God's way of dealing with humans does not involve favoritism. It's exact. And so what I found is that those people who live their life in fear, living in fear is a way of complaining to God or complaining to the universe. Because when you are afraid, you are not being positive. Being positive means trusting. It's the opposite of fear. When you trust, there is no fear. And this is why all belief systems teach faith and trust. Because trust means the absence of fear. When you trust that everything that's happening is exactly as it should be, and there's no fear. When there is no fear, bad things don't happen.
That's correct.
Because Go ahead. Because fear is a negative vibration.
That's right. That's correct. That's correct. Okay, that's an awesome response. Thank you so much for that. So we want to talk about the laws of attraction, and so kind of share with the audience a little bit about that, what that actually means, and then we'll get into some more questions in regards to laws of attraction.
Absolutely. So the main thing with law of attraction is that you create your own reality. Your thoughts and your emotions are what result in the manifestations that you experience in life. Simply speaking, that's what it is. If you focus on something negative and you generate a negative emotion such as jealousy, fear, guilt, blame, anger, revenge, powerlessness, all those are negative emotions. And if you are generating a negative emotion and if you are living the balance of your life in those emotions, then you are creating something that the universe will basically send you a message saying, stop right now because you're heading in the wrong direction. And if you don't pay attention, then something more will happen that will also not be pleasant. And that's another warning sign. Stop now because you're going in the wrong direction. And if you don't listen and you don't pay attention and you don't change the way you're thinking your thoughts, then something bigger will happen to try and attract your attention. Stop now because you're heading in the wrong direction. And if you still don't listen, then the series of negative events keeps happening because the universe is trying to attract your attention to tell you that you're heading in the wrong direction. So you just have to pay attention when something negative happens. Pay attention, stop, and say, I guess I'm heading in the wrong direction. What do I need to do so that I can change my direction? And that's like making a mental U-turn, making a U-turn in your head. And that U-turn is, okay, so I must not be realizing that I have been complaining or I have been feeling a negative emotion. What can I think about right now that can help me shift that so that I can start feeling better?
Okay.
And that's how you turn it around. Yeah.
Absolutely. I do agree with that because if we continue to ponder things for so long, especially after some of the elements or some of the events that we had to incur during the time of the pandemic, and of course, people were on a stay-at-home order, most of Americans, and so a lot of individuals perhaps even developed a lot of mental crisis in their mindset. Am I going to go to work tomorrow? Is my bills going to get paid? Is my car note going to get paid, and what have you? What about my children? What about their education? And so a lot of times things ponder the mindset, but as you stated, we have to turn and do a U-turn in our minds so things can kind of reflect on a positive level so it won't continue to develop negative things.
Yes, that's right.
So that's awesome. So now, can this be proven scientifically? Because you know how sometimes some individuals, they want to prove everything. How can we prove that what your theory is true and what have you? So can this be proven?
Absolutely. It requires not a deep understanding, but even anyone who lives life, we understand physics a little bit, right? So you understand that if you push something, that thing will get pushed. When you push something forward, so basically you can prove law of attraction based on physics, and quantum physics takes it a step further. I'm just going to give you a tiny little bit. When I was a kid, my father had one of those cars that would stop working unannounced, and he would tell all the kids to get out of the car and start pushing. And we would push the car, and then eventually it would start running on its own. Now, while you push a car or anything else, you are basically giving your energy to that thing, which is what makes it move forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of creation and the manifestation process, when you think about something, you are giving it your energy, because thought is a type of energy. Medicine, in the medical field, we have technology that measures brain waves. So thought is a form of energy. When you give your thought to something that you're thinking about, you basically move it into your future. When you think about something, you're moving that subject into your future. If you are thinking something negative will happen, then you're moving something negative into your future. If you think something positive will happen, you're moving something positive into your future. And when you arrive in your future, that thing will be waiting right there for you. The more energy you give it, the bigger that thing will be, whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. It works the same way. It is simple physics.
Wow. That is awesome. That's awesome. So we want to talk about one of your books, Zehra, and it's entitled, this kind of encouraged me in a sense. I haven't read it, but the title did. And the topic of your book is, or it may be an ebook, entitled Why Me? So talk to us a little bit about that and some of the takeaways from this book.
Yeah. Why Me is actually available for anyone who wants to download it. It's available on my website, zmahon.com. It came about from that question that I used to ask myself in the past: why were these bad things happening to me? Why did my husband strangle me? Why did my husband have an affair? Why did I lose the custody of my son? Lots of things. Why was I, why did I almost go bankrupt? These were the questions, like, what did I do to deserve this? I didn't cheat, I didn't lie, I was a good little girl, so why were all these things happening to me? That's the question I was asking. And the answer that I discovered was that it was always my fear that something would go wrong that brought me that thing going wrong. And if you connect everything that we've talked about so far in this program today, Diane, that's what it is. I was paying attention to what would go wrong, so I was pushing what would go wrong into my future, and then I would arrive in my future and receive it. And then I would wonder, where did this come from?
Okay.
So the premise of that book, the premise of that book, it's a short read, it's an easy to read book, but it's that the premise of that book is that your beliefs, what you believe, if you believe that things don't work out for you, that other people are better off, they're more beautiful, they're more capable, they have more going for them in life, then those are all negative thoughts. And I was the queen of thinking that way. Oh, I'm not beautiful enough. Why would anyone love me? I'm not good looking enough. I'm not skilled enough. I don't come from a wealthy family. I had all these thoughts. And when you think these thoughts, that's creating a negative energy in your life. And you're going to meet up with that negative energy in the future.
Right.
So
absolutely.
That book is shows people how everything is connected, and everything is connected. So because you're on a vibration, all of you is on that vibration. And so eventually what happens is that your entire life starts reflecting the dominant vibration on which you spend most of your waking hours.
Okay. So let's find out. So because sometimes we do hear about different things in the media, and it's perhaps the number one fatal, mental disorder a person can be able to accomplish without a gun or a weapon, and that's sometimes it's without a weapon, and that's suicide. And so with that, we want you to share with the audience, when should a person that has that severe type of mental depression, when should they take action? So we're going to talk about, well, we're not going to talk about this individual, but we, want to share some of the things about, I think it was Miss Universe, if I'm not mistaken, beautiful young lady, beautiful African-American young lady. She took her life this year, 2022, and so sometimes people don't even know. They may have friends, they may have family, and the next person may not even know that something may be wrong in that person's life. So when should a person take action in regards to all of this negativity boiling over?
Well, the thing is to start paying attention to the clues that the universe is bringing you. And it starts with small things like, a scratch on your car, someone cuts you off in traffic, somebody's rude to you for no reason at all. It's time to stop and say, what am I doing that I'm attracting this? The universe is trying to tell me something. And to take action right then, because that's when it's easy to change. But like anything in life, something that goes on for a very long time then becomes difficult to shift. It's like weight loss. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly over a period of time. But people don't pay attention. And then when they do pay attention, the problems become really, really big. And when suicide, something like that happens, basically for that person, the pain of living has become so big that it is less than the pain of dying.
Okay.
And that is why the pain of living is so big. And, people wear all sorts of masks. So just because somebody is putting a beautiful face and a smile, that if that smile does not reach into the depths of their souls through their eyes, then they are very sad people. And people can look beautiful and be sad inside. Because a lot of people feel as if they are exposing themselves at a level where they don't want to expose themselves.
Okay. So, great. So, I guess the next question would be, what type of goals should anyone be setting? Because I think negativity comes to us all. But I know that you were saying that we're supposed to take the U-turn. If there's a fork in the road, you need to turn around and reconsider the things that we think that are negative and what have you. And so, how can we set some goals for that?
Hi. Sorry about that.
Yes. Okay, that's fine. So how can we set some goals?
I didn't catch the last part of what you said, Diane.
Okay, that's fine. So how can we set some goals? We have you had shared about the fork in the road. Sometimes we have a fork in the road and then we're supposed to do the U-turn, and sometimes we don't. So how can we set some goals to make sure that our mental capacity is free of negativity?
Don't let anything go too far. Don't let things get away from you. If the voice inside asks you to pay attention to something, do that. Don't brush it under the carpet and say, oh, I'll do that later. Because you are a wise being. You have wisdom inside you. And that voice of wisdom is always trying to guide you. So if the voice inside says, okay, enough, don't eat another cookie, stop and don't eat another cookie. You've got to listen to the voice inside you, because you see, that voice that is inside us is the voice of the universe. And it's trying to guide us to not go so far, because, if you're going at 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction, you will not get the goals that you want. So the voice inside you does not want you to go in the wrong direction at 100 miles an hour. When you haven't yet caught speed, that voice is going to try to get you to not put your foot on the accelerator by saying things like, okay, you should stop now. And it happens even in the middle of an argument. there's this voice inside you saying, no, stop right there. Don't say that next thing you're about to say. Don't say it. And you say it anyway, and it doesn't go well. That's the voice inside you. It is the voice of wisdom. It is the voice of the universe trying to get you to put the brakes on, because first you got to put the brake on before you can make the U-turn.
Right. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yes, right. Go ahead.
So you cannot make those changes unless you become aware. You've got to be aware of your thoughts. You've got to start telling yourself, I'm going to measure and weigh what I'm thinking and what I'm saying before I actually go in that direction, so that if I need to stop, I'm going to stop right there. And those are the times when we bite our tongue and we don't say that thing that was at the tip of our tongue that we wanted to say, and we held it back because we knew it was better to hold it back. And we have to pay that attention. We have to pay that attention to everything in our life. It's just a habit. Once you become habitually aware, it's easy to do. It's like the first time my parents bought me a wristwatch when I was in grade school, and they bought me a wristwatch to wear because they were very conscious of time. So they bought me a watch. When I first put that watch on, it felt awkward. I didn't like it. I didn't like it on my arm. I didn't like the weight of it. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't want that watch. And after a while, I got so used to it that every 5 minutes I was looking at my watch. What time is it? And my time is, every 5 minutes of my time is accounted for. I'm spot on with time. And it's become a habit. So now it's no effort for me. But when I first started, there was effort. And so that's the thing. In the beginning, anything that you want to do is effort. I remember when I started weight training, 2 pounds was a lot. And slowly I increased my capacity to lift weights, and I can lift more and more and more every week, literally. And it's about getting used to it. You get used to it, and then you'll be able to catch yourself. You'll be able to catch your thoughts before they get out of hand. And that's what we need to do. We need to become mindful. That's what mindfulness is all about.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So, excuse me there. Yeah, what is it that you wanted to leave with the audience on today, such as your how they can be able to follow you, how they can be able to find your website, how they can be able to reach you with your e-books, and as well as any social media handles that you would like the audience to follow? You can be able to share that at this time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my handle across all social media is Z Mahon, so ZMAHOON. That is also my website, so zmahon.com is my website. You can contact me, send me an email if you have a question. I love responding to questions. I'm the sort of person, if you send me a question, I will probably do a video and put it on my YouTube channel for you as well as for other people. So you can send me a question. You can download my free ebook, which is Why Me? Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People? It's available on my website. And I'm happy to play with people. So I run a Facebook community. You can join me there. I'm on Instagram and I am on YouTube. So come and connect with me in whichever way feels comfortable to you.
Awesome. Zehra, we thank you so much for being with us today in the studio, sharing the transparency of the laws of attraction and helping all of us, including myself, to be able to just do a U-turn, is to be able to have a successful mindset and build up on that, and then it will be as a habit, as you stated. So, everyone, we will be back with Women Who Rock with Success Media on Tuesday of the following week, and we thank everyone for tuning in with us on today for our second episode, as well as we thank you, Zehra, once again for being our guest on today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.